It's Jacob Bear live from Darfur National Television, or DMBC. So today I will be talking about the issues that are unfolding in Darfur, especially with the newly displaced people who are now calling for the help. And I'll be also talking about the entire lack of security in Darfur and shortage of food and other supplies for the people of Darfur, especially the displaced people, as well as I will be talking about the issues of the negotiations. So let's start with the new displacement. Hundreds of people displaced in Darfur due to the ongoing conflicts between the government and these rebel forces. And the so-called government supporters that are called the rapid forces, that are genuine militias who are attacking every citizen of Darfur in any corner of the country, are orchestrating massacres against the people of Darfur. They're killing everyone over there, and they take over the land and forming their own local governments. So then the people of Darfur called for international community as well, particularly the Security Council and the Secretary General of the United Nations, to reconsider their decisions and try to protect them from those attacks. Then the other people who are, call themselves the opposition of Chad are also operating inside Darfur, killing people there in Darfur, looting their properties, and, raping people over there. And they are fighting with the government of Chad, but they are at the same time are operating inside Darfur because they are the right hand of the government of Sudan. Now, there is another problem that people are, seeing from the government side. The new presidential decree that saying it's calling for the entire rebel group to come to the negotiating table in Khartoum. Well, this is absolutely very challenging, proactive policy that the government wants to proceed against the people of Darfur and our other marginalized powers in Sudan. Now, the focus will be about this. Who are those people? What does that mean, national dialogue? After 29 years or almost 100 years of, repression and brutality of the governments of Sudan, not just one, but all entire governments of Sudan who are against the citizens of the country. So this is not a national negotiation. I don't think so this is going to end in anything, because this is nothing. It's just, people who are trying to deceive people and come to the negotiations. Now, if you look at the situation before, when there were negotiations between the government and some rebels in Darfur, there was no implementation of any minor, protocol that's been signed. So then I want to talk to my fellow citizens of Darfur. Don't be deceived by the policy of the government, nor the policy of anyone who is trying to deceive you to put you at a negotiating table without clear proposal that will bring your rights right away. Now, and my fellow, countrymen who are fighting against the government, supposed to shift their policy toward the government of Sudan. Whenever the government of Sudan called for negotiations, you have to prepare your military might to attack and continue fighting. And there is another strategy that they have to change. My fellow citizens, you have to understand that this world today is not the world of fantasy. It's the world of pragmatics. So you have to live your reality. So you don't have to think about something that you can't do it. Now, what we need from this message or to be conveyed is, now the people of Darfur are supposed to think too much about Darfur rather than anything else, because I think this is the only option that we can topple the government, which means we will be starting from inside Darfur, toppling all the local governments, all the governors of the states here in Darfur, and the counties, as well as, the mayors of the cities, supposed to be from us, not from the Arabs, nor from the people who are occupying our land. So this will be the only option that will topple the government. Because even talking about an economic perspective, Sudan has lost the economic might, and now it's focusing on the regional economy, which means from the local governments who are, centralized in the regions, are supporting the government in the center. And the only thing that to weaken the government's position is absolutely to topple the governments in a regional councils and try to, appoint or elect, depends on people's aspirations there. Now, you will appoint new governors of all those states who will be operating there, and they will be under the commands of freedom fighters. Now, this will challenge the government to come to Darfur or any other region which is war torn. Because if, for example, I say, like in those cities in Darfur, if we topple the governors and local leaders, as well as the mayors of cities, and we brought our own freedom fighters to work there, to operate as the governors of those, then that means we already liberate Darfur, and the government alone technically will come to the negotiating table wherever we want. So look at what happened between the other nations in the past. They were not just negotiating and stopping the war. No, they were fighting and negotiating. Then this would be the only solution. If you guys also want, I can disagree with the people, but I also can disagree in some cases. But I can't deny that people have right to decide whatever they want for their aspirations. But you have to look also carefully. If you want to build the entire nation, which is called Sudan, I think you got to be prepared for that. Also, as well as fighting for independence is not also easy. But the only thing that I see is easiest is to try to take over the cities. We know it's very challenging. That if you want to come to the cities, you will have a lot of victims over there. But at the same time, it's better for people to know that if there is no war, there can't be peace. And peace is never free. Okay, so freedom is always sounds like freedom, but it's never been free. You need to do a lot of things for it. So now our people in Darfur are supposed to know that we need to cancel, everything that's related to those people, from culture to education that's related to the people. We can form our own educational, system that will operate properly and will absolutely go with the international standard of education, because that would be the best interest of our nation over there. Now, if we also want to build Sudan, it doesn't matter, so it's going to be okay, but at the same time, I think people of Sudan have to stand for that. If you from Darfur are going to Sudan to fight for the people of Sudan, and then the people of Sudan doing nothing, then at the end of the day, they will say, okay, so this guy is a slave. Now, those people who call themselves Arabs who are not, and they are very extremists more than Arab people themselves, they're very bad guys because they call themselves the Islamic people. Now, if you look at the entire world and the nations that are under Islam, they're absolutely not developed, and that's very bad news. I'm sorry to say I'm not insulting Muslims nor anything, but there is something called carelessness, because I think Islam teaches people the carelessness and teaches people to love someone endlessly, which means you don't know who is this guy, but you're just loving someone you don't know. But we have to be vigilant, because those people didn't come here as Muslims. They came here to take over our land, so we have to kick them out. And everyone who wants to practice his religion, I am not, preventing you to do that, but absolutely you have to be vigilant. And you don't have to consider the religion as something that you can try to tackle problems with. I think it's a part of the problem. It's not going to be the solution of the problem. So I will end my discussion with this, that I want to send a clear message to the people of Darfur, and especially the freedom fighters, to change their calculus, not to focus on just, fighting for the government. We want to topple the government in Khartoum, but to start toppling the local governments right away from Darfur until Khartoum, because that means whenever you liberate the place, you'll be easy or to transfer anything you have. And I think you'll have a lot of channels that are relating between you and the neighboring countries. But if the government is still controlling most of Darfur and you're just, calling for a Khartoum, I know that's absolutely a very good idea, ideologically, that if you say the Khartoum is the only one which is orchestrating atrocities against our people, that's absolutely right, and you need to topple the main source of that. But I think now, since South Sudan, it's separated, I think the main source of Khartoum is the regional government, not the central government, because in the center there is nothing. They are focusing on the regional governments to try to bring in the budgets of the government. So if you cut that supplies to the government, that will be the red line for everything, and I think they will come to the negotiating table. So I hope that you can consider my idea, and if not, it doesn't matter also, so we'll continue to campaign against those repressive regimes everywhere in the world, and particularly in Sudan. Thank you for watching my program. I hope you enjoyed it, and I think absolutely you can disagree with me, whatever. You can have any comments about this, and I don't, feel ashamed to talk about the realities, but this is the only way that we can try to address the issues, quite frankly. Thank you.